All right, what's going on, everybody? It's Brian with Georgia Prison Watch, and this is a podcast that we decided that we were going to do today to kind of get a prisoner's perspective on the gang violence that's taking place in our prisons here in Georgia. Joining me today is Susan Sparks Burns. She is the founder of They Have No Voice, which is a prisoners advocacy group here in Georgia. And then we have a special guest that we're not going to identify today, other than the name that he has there on the screen. But he is active, well, not an active, but he is a current prisoner somewhere in the Department of Corrections. And we kind of wanted to bring someone on to kind of get his perspective on everything and kind of to give everybody just an ideal on what he sees every day when it comes to gang violence and just violence itself that we know is just out of hand and totally out of control in our prisons. So before we get started, I always like to ask Susan, my lovely co-host, if she has anything that she wants to add before we get started.
Uh, I'd like to just start by saying that we recognize that the gangs in Georgia prisons are a significant influencer of what goes on in the prisons. We've seen over the last couple of years uh, a vacuum get of a vacuum that is the lack of officers get filled by the influence of gangs in the prisons, and it's I think most people looking in from the outside see it as completely negative, and that may not be necessarily the case that it's completely negative. It, from my perspective, as a mother of someone who went to prison and an advocate for uh, the human and civil rights of those who are incarcerated here in Georgia, um, I don't have the right perspective to make a lot of statements about it, to have my own opinions. I can only have my own observations. Um, I'd love to know more, especially what it's like to live with it day in and day out.
Right. So hopefully we'll get some answers now. And, just bear with us, everyone, just in case we have some technical difficulties or anything like that. Just, knowing that our guest is kind of, he might have to dip and dodge and run. And
There's never no count time in Georgia, so
all right. But,
you don't worry about that.
and I'll identify you as for purposes of this podcast and in this video. I'll just identify you as what you have it identified as DJ. But just DJ, I guess just tell us, give the listeners and the viewers of this, just give us a little ideal before we jump into some questions on just what you see there, or what you see, or what you have saw as far as violence and I don't know, just what you see on a daily basis when it comes to gang violence and just I guess violence on a on a broader scale.
Yeah. Well, being in Georgia prisons, gangs run the prison now. So it's just like there's no loyalty in the gang, as they say. But you get you and from my experience, I'm not gonna say it's every gang. It's mainly the Bloods. You know what I'm saying? It's mainly the Bloods. Once they get 10, they become getting numbers and things. That's when all the shenanigans start happening in the dorm. The dorm can be peaceful. Once you get 10 Bloods in there, it's a wrap. It's over with. They extorting, they robbing, they stabbing, and being in Georgia, drugs in the chain gang, as we say, drugs in the chain gang, is ridiculous. So it's like you got gang members doing the drugs not mixing with their mental state. They already got a lot of time. They fresh off the street. They still wild, and they coming into prisons just doing the craziest things that you can think of. You know,
So let me ask you this: would it be a true statement if I would say that gangs charge civilians and non-gang members to live in the dorm that they've been assigned to?
that is a very true statement.
Because
Yes,
I
that
mean,
is a very true statement.
because I mean, just I want to keep it 100% real. I mean, I want you to be 100% honest because we don't know everything, and you can verify and you can stop us and you can check us if you have to on something that we say that may not be 100% factual. But I mean, you just answered my question to be 100% true when it comes to the fact that uh, gangs extort non uh, gang members and non affiliated people in order to live and stay in the dorm that they've been assigned to.
I can tell you like this. All right, the dorm I'm in, it's about 4 to 8 people sleep in the day room, and they just rotate it out because what's happening is, like most of these guys, they done burnt their bridges. I'm gonna say gang members. They done burnt their bridges, for whatever reason. So they not really having the support as others. So what they do is they want to get civilian roommates, and then they want them to pay to stay in the room. And the first time he don't pay, they want to put him out. So on store day when he can pay again, he can come back. And then the next time when he can't go to store, he got to get back out. So I would say that's true.
Susan, Susan, did you just hear this? Because I'm not shocked, but I mean, this is what he just said is the entire podcast right there. Because he just said that that gangs are extorting people and making them pay rent to live in a dorm that has been assigned to them by whoever at the prison.
Yes, that was the fundamentally what was happening to those people at GDCP that we heard from last night. Um, I mean, that had contacted Human and Civil Rights last night. That actually happened. They were shipped in from county on Monday, and by Wednesday, yes, last night was Wednesday. By Tuesday, well, actually, this started for them on Monday when they walked in the dorm, and they were gathered up by the gang members, and because of where they were, um, locked them in a cell together until everything had they were all their personal property had been gone through, and which doesn't amount to much when they're going from county, and every phone number that they had written down in their Bibles got called, and the attempt for each one of those people was, in one case, $1,500, another $2,000, and they they were not new to prison. Both of these men whose families contacted us had been to prison. This was their fifth time, and this was an experience they had never had before.
So and so DJ, so tell me this: when do staff or nobody see that people are sleeping in the day room? And if they do, second part of my question, if if an officer or a lieutenant or a sergeant supposedly just happens to walk by the dorm and see them out there, what is said?
I'm gonna tell you like this: when they see people sleeping in the day room, You know what they do? Or I should say they sleeping in a mock closet. All they do is put the latch on the doors and then they lock the mock closet too. So they basically locking you in the mock closet. Oh, we see you. Okay, yeah. Click, we'll lock you in here wherever you sleeping at. They not trying to help you get no room. You know?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's what they saying. Oh, I can't believe you sleeping in there. You so nasty. You dirty. You this, that, and the third. Or they gonna say, oh, you one of them junkies. You one of them what they call it, K2 heads or spice head, whatever the hell they call. But you one of them. Like, yeah. You need to be sleeping in a mock closet. And if you see the mock closet, you be like, oh hell no. How the hell do anybody sleep in here?
Susan, go ahead, because
I I
I'm
get
just
sent
kind of like,
pictures. Yeah, I get sent pictures regularly of 3 or 4 people
Yeah.
sleeping in the day room.
no, and I've saw, and to be honest with you, I tried to go back on Instagram today when I had a little free time. I tried to go back on Instagram today and pull some pictures that I had saw or videos that I had saw on there from people that was sleep. I mean, I saw a guy that was literally sleeping under the staircase. Um, he had his mattress and his clothes and everything, and he was literally,
I'll make sure I get you some.
yeah. I mean, and he was literally sleeping underneath the staircase where everybody walked up and down the steps. His mat was under the staircase. So go ahead, Susan, if you have any questions
I
or anything that you want to kind of get out
I
there.
I've heard from people who were their loved one was being made to sleep in the day room because they'd been assigned to a cell with in one particular case it was fairly complicated. Um, they were assigned to a cell with a Muslim who didn't like he didn't like him, and he had his reasons, but he didn't like him. And since the guy could not pay a dime to this day room, he went. But had he had loved ones who could pay, that would have been a that would have happened. He didn't.
DJ, talk to me about, because I wanted to mention this earlier in the previous podcast that we did, but I didn't get a chance to get to it. But talk to me and tell me about this. What I've heard, I won't say lately, but I've heard this several times in the last, I'll just say 6 months, of when people come into the dorm, gangs will push up on them and tell them that they will protect them for a certain fee, um, a week or whatever. Tell me a little bit about that, and tell me if that's true of what I've heard.
So what they do is they get certain people who they feel it might be a Caucasian dude they feel got money, or a black dude or whatever type of dude they feel got money, and they want you to what they call being up under their protection. So they want you to pay them and get them whatever they want to be up under their protection. But the whole time they the ones robbing you.
Uh-huh. Yes.
They talking about you being protected from somebody else, but they the one robbing you.
So, and let me get this straight. So, when you say protecting, so they are supposed to be protecting you from another gang, or protecting you from someone that is gonna supposedly do some type of harm to you.
Supposedly, supposedly the dorm is supposed to be the worst dorm on the compound, and it got multiple gangs in it supposedly, but the ones who want you under their protection, them the ones causing the most problems.
Right. So you're
Yeah.
saying in a nutshell also that is really nothing going on like that, but they lead you to believe that it's something like that in order to get money.
Exactly.
Jeez. Susan, go ahead. You got any questions or anything or something you want to talk about?
No, I mean it seems like there's they're not providing a service, and yet just through intimidation, they make the person who's coming in believe that they're in danger and will keep you safe. No, from what? Am I missing something here?
It's a blessing to even see an officer every 5 hours here in Georgia. I'm about to say it's a blessing to see an officer any day. If you see an officer, it's pretty much a good day.
So on a
Sometimes
good
they don't
day,
even. Sometimes you just go to chow on your own. You determine when you gonna go to chow.
so and let me ask you this: on a good day, how many officers do you see? And we'll use your term, good day. On a good day, how many officers do you see?
On a good day, you're gonna see 3 officers. That's a good day.
And how often do you see them?
For 3 officers, you're not gonna see them never. They're gonna come by. They're not even gonna stop by. They're gonna walk by the door, and that's it. When you ask them a question, they're gonna keep walking like that. They hear you. All right, yeah, okay. Oh shit. It's
So I
been
mean,
times where I went to visitation, and the warden would come in there and say he been working 23 hours because he ain't got no office.
so and talk about this too. Talk about this because me and you spoke offline. I don't know, last week, maybe this week, I don't remember. But me and you spoke offline, and it's something that struck me as just totally ridiculous when you mentioned to me about the cell phones and the gangs, and this goes back to there's no officers. So if someone has a medical emergency, or if someone's stabbed, or someone uh, something happens to someone, there's nobody that you see and nobody that can come and help. So go over with me what you said, of the incident. Just I don't know when the incident took place, but go over with me exactly what do you guys have to do if there's a medical emergency, or if there's someone that's been stabbed, or someone's been beat up. What do you guys have to do in order to get help?
So due to it being extremely hot, of course we're down south. Due to it being extremely hot, and as most of you know, Georgia prisons do not have no AC whatsoever. Do not let them trick you and tell you that unless you're at a private prison. But due to it being extremely hot, the violence increased. So, and people get sick. They have heat strokes. They fall out. They seizures, activate and stuff. So without an officer being around, what you got to do is you have to call 911 on the outside just to get help in the prison. And it's gonna take. They won't even realize until the ambulance get to the front gate, and they like, "Oh my God, who called y'all? We didn't call y'all. What's going on?" Well, we have an inmate that called us because they say such and such and such. So when they finally do realize, or find the building, it's 45 minutes later. You know what the warden do? The warden don't come in and check on the individual. He said, "Oh, I need the phone that was called from 911. I need the phone that called 911 and put him on the door." Oh, putting on the door means kick him out the door. So yeah, put him on the door too. Don't beat him up. Put him on the door though. Like, huh? But when you put him on the door, this what blew my mind. You put him on the door, and 2 days later he right back. What was the point of doing it?
Hmm. Susan?
I'm going to answer that. It was pointless. It was just moving pieces on the chessboard. It didn't have any impact on anything.
And instead of us standing up to the people, telling them this is what we got to do. Instead of us standing up to them, you know what we do? We put the man outside to keep us from getting shook down or keep us from going through whatever. We put the man, we put him outside. So if an individual die here, now y'all gonna be saying we got a murder on our hands because we didn't get no help, or we was in here touching him trying to get him some help, but we just let him die. So now somebody got a free murder charge.
Go ahead, Susan.
I just hate I just hate this.
I'm speechless over here, so you just go on ahead.
Yeah.
And what they did now is what they have done now is they call themselves reassigning wardens as if that's gonna, be such a big thing or whatever. The dorm I'm in, I've been here 3 months. We haven't had a working water fountain since I've been in here.
You say it again. You hadn't had a working what? I'm sorry.
Working water fountain. The water fountain has not worked since we've been in here. Since I've been here. I've been here 3 months. But they say it has been out way before I even got here.
DJ, I don't know if you're aware, but one of the things that we've done, and they have no voice, is prepare templates for the loved ones to be able to send it. It's respectful and polite, and it's, I'm writing to you today, to the warden, to let you know something you may not be aware of, that this dorm, this building, whatever it is without a working water fountain in these days of extreme heat. Please follow up on this. We try to do it respectfully and in such a way that it doesn't tell whose information, whose family member is speaking to somebody on the outside. Of course, they're going to say, Mama, we hadn't had a water fountain in 3 months. Well, we make it possible for a loved one to have an easy form to follow, and we've got it for water fountains, air conditioning, industrial fans, anything that's commonly the water's out, whatever it is. So any kind of common issues. And those get used regularly. So Brian, if it's helpful, I mean, I don't know if the format's right for it, but if it's helpful, we'll share that with HCR and have the templates at least available to the public. If something happens, they can contact them by email in a respectful way that doesn't doesn't identify who's complaining.
Yeah, and I hear you, on that. I mean, my opinion, and how I am when it comes to respect for those people, because they don't give respect, they don't earn respect, and I think that just speaking for myself, and I can't speak for anybody else, is I'm a bulldog when it comes to them, because I understand that you can be as respectful to them as much as possible, but at the end of the day, they're gonna still shit on you. And
well,
go ahead.
If it's not if it's not polite and respectful, they're not going to do anything, and so we're trying to be effective.
Yeah, I understand that, and I get that as well. But they're still gonna do anything that they're gonna do. They're gonna do on their own time anyway. And I guess what I'm trying to say is y'all be respectful when I continue.
Okay.
Even if it's in a respectful manner. I'm gonna give you a real life scenario, right? So I went to my so-called counselor to ask for a pick summary, which my paid attorney asked me to get from the
Hmm.
the counselor for this document. I mean, for my case or whatever. He said he needs to see this document. Now, keep in mind, he said he gets this document from his other clients with no problem. So when I ask for the document, I get told, "Oh, I need to speak to legal services. We're not supposed to give inmates printouts anymore. Starting late last year, we don't give out printouts to inmates anymore." So if my lawyer is telling me to get a printout for something because you guys are making it hard for him to obtain a printout, and he say he's getting from his other offender clients, how what's like I don't understand. Like this is pertaining to my freedom. I don't understand. And you can come in the respectfulest way and manner possible. They will not give it to you.
Well, I understand what you're saying there. What we've tried to do is provide the chain of command. But you know, we don't have an awful lot of, um, res- I guess respect is the right word for the counselors that, or the so-called counselors. They don't counsel anything. They're case managers, and what what you may not be aware of, there is uh, an email address for GDC pick inquiries, so you can bypass the counselors to get exactly what you want. And glad to share that. Uh, Glad to share that with you.
So DJ, just tell us, in closing, we have a few more minutes here. So just tell us in closing, um, just kind of go through anything that you want to go through to kind of make people aware of what's going on and what continues to go on a daily basis that you think is important.
Well, like I say, I've been locked up 15 years, and I have seen prison get anything but worse. It's getting nothing but worse from the commissioner on down. It's just getting worse. Um, the food is horrible. If something goes on at like if if something goes on at a prison and let's just say it's for a good cause, you know what they do? They call the tax squad. Tax squad comes in and tear everything up, eat your food out your box, and write little crazy messages, cocksucker in your box, pussy gay motherfucker in your box, and all that. It's getting worse. Like I don't see GDC getting any better. The food is the portions like I would thought we was in a juvenile. I promise juveniles get fed better than this. I promise. The portions way bigger, and that's part of the problem. Like like if we can actually change some stuff like in Georgia, it I think it'll get better. Like as far as air conditioning, you got to give people something to actually want to be under control. Like there's no air. When it get hot, people want to get crazy. They get stupid. You know, instead of coming in the dorms asking like, "What's going on this week? Do y'all need anything? Is this something we can do? Anything?" You know, they're not doing that. You do one thing, they automatically taking you to the hole. If you stand up against them, they taking you to the hole. Nobody wants to be in a holding cell which holds two inmates, but it's 4 or 5 people in there. Nobody want to do that, and it's extremely hot, and there's
And
no ventilation.
and as far as the major thing, I guess, and I hear you off on all of that, and I
Yeah.
100% agree with you, and I'm not definitely not trying to get you off of that. I'm just I kind of want you to emphasize as well on just, because I don't want people that will listen to this to think that we're exaggerating on the gang violence perspective of all of this. Um,
No, it's
and
the gang violence ain't getting no better. You got officers in here gang banging too. I've literally watched where officers take the gang member to the other side of the prison, stab somebody up, watch him stab somebody up, and walk him back to his dorm. If that's not, I mean, you got to be a part of the gang too. You know what we was coming over here to do.
Yeah.
The ones even gang banging now. You ought to hear how they talk. There's no professionalism in their daily lingo at work. There's no professionalism in it.
No.
right.
If you hear during inspection how they talk, this a warrant or is this a thug from the outside? Like which one are you? They come in, they don't even inspect. They come in, y'all niggas good? Oh, y'all niggas cool with me. And walk out. I thought you was a warrant. You're not supposed to be using them type of terms.
But you know what? I fuck with y'all, nigga, bro. I fuck with y'all, nigga.
You see what I'm saying? That's the type of stuff the warrant say. The stuff that you hear in the background. I fuck with y'all. I fuck with y'all niggas. Y'all cool. Yeah, I'm out this bitch. And these are other offenders that's in.
Hey, y'all motherfucker had this shit straight this week, though, man. The man coming through this bitch, man.
You see what I'm saying?
Hey, how's enough?
That's what they do. They talk to us any kind of way, treat us any kind of way. They let the gangs do what they want to do, and then they come in here and say, "Oh, have this bitch together next week. We got a new war. He coming through. He coming through with his boss man." So you basically, yeah, make me look good. This is what they say. Right before this, you just had a gang incident, a blood on blood incident, where he comes in and say, "All right, ain't gonna be no inspection."
But somebody could got them talk.
Yeah, but somebody need to come talk to me. Now, Blood just got stabbed. The man's head was so big. The man's head was literally the size of a pumpkin. And all you want to do is talk. You don't want to lock nobody up. You don't want to do nothing. You just want to talk. So he steps outside and talk in the middle of inspection. He steps outside and talk, and he come right back in. The day continues. Nothing never happened.
Let me ask you this. This is something I've heard also. Is it true that if a situation happens between rival gangs in prison, is it uncommon for a warden or deputy warden or someone within high power to go get both of the leaders of the gang and ask them if they can just squash the beef so the tension or whatever could stop? Is that common or uncommon?
That is common. But at the same time, with that being common, where you go get two criminal gang leaders and ask them to squash the beef. Now, we're not trying to be locked down because we're the gang leaders, and we know that you're going to lock us down if anything goes on. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell you, yeah, we're just going to squash it. But at the end of the day, when I go back to my dorm, I can't control what goes on in another dorm.
Right. Nor if you can control the people that cares nothing about anybody having any type of truth that's still going to be on the BS and do the exact opposite of what they just agreed on.
Exactly. And from my experience, out of 15 years of being in prison, I see more now where whatever they call foot soldiers or people up under them. I see where they try to gang leaders more than anything. They be trying them. So what make you think if I tell you not to do it, if I tell them not to do it, they're just not gonna do it. They gonna continue to do it. Cause they try me. They tell me shut the F up and I'm their leader. They buck up at me. So what make you think I can sit here in your face as a warden and honestly say, Yes, we're going to squash the beef. Me and him are going to squash the beef, but the people up under us, they may not, because one of the people you might want to squash the beef might have been one of those ones who actually got stabbed or injured in this situation.
Right. Well, DJ, I appreciate you coming on with us. I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to get you on, because I don't want people to think, that we just make all this stuff up and that, we don't know what we're talking about, when we post and when we post, other stuff from various other people. I just didn't want that perspective to be out there that, we just make all this stuff up and it's not as bad as we make it seem. I think this last 35 minutes will help people to understand that, yes, it's actually probably a little worse than what they make it out to be. So I
Yeah.
definitely appreciate you coming on with us and just, keeping it real and telling us and telling everybody, what's really going on because, it's important for people to hear from someone that's, behind defenses that can tell everybody exactly, exactly what's going on. And, you know, that Susan, I mean, I'm kind of not really shocked, but I don't know.
Yeah. I hear it, but I hear this regularly, but I hear it from people who are writing.
Yeah,
It's not. It doesn't have the real, I guess, the gravitas of having DJ on here tonight and saying what it's like, just living it day to day.
right. Yeah,
DJ, thank you so very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
yeah, I definitely appreciate you coming on with us. And if you need anything, just holler at us and we'll try to help you out.
All righty. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
All right.
man.
Awesome. Thank you again.
Susan, as we close out here, that was mind blowing, and I just hope that I hope people will listen to this, and you know, as I said earlier, we got to reach the people that don't have people that's in the system, and but are taxpayers and uh, just ordinary people every day that just think everything is fine, and that their 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 tax dollars is being pumped into a law enforcement agency, the largest law enforcement agency in our state, and you have 100% honest and truthful eyewitnesses that witness this stuff going on every day. And people need to hear this kind of stuff. I mean, it's mind blowing.
It, as you just said, as a taxpayer, it, to hear from him, this is how professional law enforcement people making $100,000 a year talk to me, talk to us. You know, it's that's in my view a ridiculous way to carry oneself when you're in a position where your job demands that you be respected, that you don't get down in the dirt and talk to people that way. Surely that that can't be what is intended.
Mm.
My son said when he went to Jackson, the hardest thing to absorb, to take, was how he was being talked to. And I just heard, but he didn't go into detail like what we just heard. That at the very end was impactful. It was sort of off subject from gangs, but right on in terms of how it feels to be incarcerated.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just adding insult to injury. I
Yeah,
mean, you're already incarcerated, and then you have and let alone an officer or someone that's in authority, but let alone another man,
Yeah.
just talk to you like that, and there's nothing that you can really do about it. I mean, and that's kind of what he said. You talk to me any kind of way, and then I can't really do anything about it, because you have the authority, uh, and they can just talk to you any kind of way that they want to. Um, you
Brian,
know,
may I ask a question? You and I talked a few weeks ago about someone that uh, had a great deal. People respected him, and it had to do with how he carried himself.
right?
Did he talk like that?
No, and I don't think he does. I mean, I don't think he does. You in those, people don't understand, and I think something that DJ was alluding to, and I don't think he really wanted to go into that, but when he said it, I kind of understood what he was talking about, and it was at the part when he said, why is all this stuff taking place when when they say put somebody on the door, why are we not sticking together and saying, no, we're not doing that, you
Yeah.
know, I think that there's not enough of that. It's not enough of sticking together, and bringing about a positive change in these facilities. That you know, because and I don't know if I even ought to say this on there, but you know, if you look at it, they're outnumbered. You know,
Absolutely.
they are outnumbered, and that ought to. I'm just going to leave it there because I don't want to think anybody. I don't want anybody to think that I'm advocating for
Yes.
anything outside of that. But they're outnumbered, and but it's up to the inmates to want to bring about some kind of change for themselves. And you just don't have a lot of that. A lot of them are, too busy worrying about what contraband they can keep
Yeah.
in order to bring about some type of change for themselves. And I get it. I mean, when you're paying $3,000 for a cell phone, you know then it makes you want to start thinking, when's if I do that, then where's the next 5,000 coming from, because they just found every single one of them, so now I'm gonna have to pay 4,000,
Yeah.
5,000 to get another one. So you know I mean, I get it, I definitely get it. But I think that was very impactful. I'm glad that we had him on, and I hope that people will have a conversation. I know I'm going to be sending this podcast to a few of the governor's people, so they can listen to it. A quick text with the link will work, and hopefully, they'll get on here and they'll listen to this
Yeah.
kind of stuff, and it'll help them in their decision making. Because I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to be honest with you as we close out. Um, People are paying attention. People, these videos, these podcasts are reaching people like never before.
Yeah.
And you can look at the impressions on the back end of Facebook, and you can see it's reaching men, women, young, old, it's reaching people.
Yeah.
And people continue to ask me, do you think this is gonna have some change? Do you think some change is gonna happen? Do you think some change is gonna happen? I will submit that stuff is changing, stuff slowly changing, but it's because a coalition of people, and people and they have no voice, and people all around social media and stuff are seeing all this stuff, and they're asking questions, they're watching, they're sharing, they're calling, they're emailing, and um, slowly I think that they're starting to feel the pressure. I mean, I really do. I think that they're starting to feel some pressure. And, I don't know. I can't, speculate, but I think that, eventually, Susan, something's going to break. Something is going to break, um, because I feel like that public pressure is starting to just be a little bit too much for them to handle, and they're going to have to do something.
Well, when I when my son first went to prison, I thought I didn't know anybody who'd ever been to prison, and it turned out I knew lots of people, but for all sorts of reasons they don't talk about it. Now we've got a platform that's allowing people to have conversations. They're hearing it. More people. I asked someone earlier, are are you going to listen to, are you going to listen to the podcast later? He said, I am, and my mother and my sister are waiting for it to come on. And I was like, wow, okay. People outside of the people that are, we are making it possible for people to know what this is really like. And
Yes.
it's not Shawshank Redemption.
No. And my goal with this Human and Civil Rights Coalition is, we continue, or as we start, trying to bring more um, like-minded individuals on to help us continue to grow this, and do a lot of different things um, with this coalition. I think it's healthy that we have conversations, and one of my biggest things that I want to start doing, and I think is very important that we do, is start reaching more people. Start going after the people that you know 10 years ago, 15 years ago thought people they committed a crime, so what, they're in prison, deal with it. I want to and I think we are. I want to start going after those people, because those are the constituents, if you might say, of the governor, and people that just supporters of him, that they start seeing this stuff, and they start saying, well, wait a minute, now I understand that they are in prison, but you know can't we not treat them humanely while they are in prison? So it's a reach, and it's an audience out there that I think, because we're in 2023 and we're not in 2006, when times have changed.
Yeah.
Times have really changed, and if we can reach those people, that's why I always say share, 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 because it reaches people,
Yeah.
and people see the stuff, and then they start asking questions about stuff, and then it stuff just really starts to kind of work in those people's favor that's behind those walls. So you know if you're listening to this, please share this, please share the video, share this, and let's continue to have a conversation, let's continue to just talk to one another, and try to help these people. I mean, how can you not listen to DJ's um, story on what's going on and not feel some type of way about what you just heard?
Yeah.
And and he didn't even, that was just you know us asking him questions. I could have just let him talk, and probably our jaws would have just been all the way dropped down to the ground.
Yeah.
But it's just, we say it all the time, heartbreaking that individuals are absolutely being treated like this.
Yeah.
And the most craziest part, probably out of all of that, is that there's no staff, and when somebody has a seizure, they have to call 911 themselves.
Yeah. And then what becomes important is the phone from which the call was made.
Yep.
I I want them to protect themselves and protect their phones, because cell phones have changed this. They've changed the game.
Yes.
But if they call their mama, call their sister, call their loved one, and let them make that 911 call. But protect their phones, because the phones are what gives us the videos. It gives us the ability to communicate as we do. and some of the things are hard to hear, but um,
Yeah, and I alluded to that earlier. I
yeah,
don't, you know, cell phones, back then, you had people when they would say, and I've heard stories, when judges would say, well, they had so many cases coming before judges for cell phones, felony charges for cell phone that, the judges just started saying, stop sending all these people, and then they
hmm
stopped charging people with cell phones. But people don't know how valuable they are, and many of you've had this discussion. Nobody's sitting in there calling their victims, harassing their victims
no,
of their cases. Now they might be doing some scamming, and
those are the minority by
yeah,
far, the majority.
and we, yeah, exactly right, and we know it happens, and we're not condoning it because I think it's awful, and I know you do as well. We've had that
Yeah,
conversation, but they ain't sitting in there doing stuff like that. Like you said, the minority of them, majority of them ain't doing it,
no.
and
If they've got they have the phone so they don't have to stand out at the wall phone, and even if the wall phone even works, so and they're able to talk with their loved ones,
yeah,
and that's all they want.
all of their loved ones, not excluding the ones like the state wants you to do when you freaking can only talk to certain people, and
Yeah,
if they're not your next of kin or your somebody, then they don't want you to talk to them. That's ridiculous,
no.
you know. So I would hope that one day they're going to see, that those are valuable tools for them to have, or something valuable for them to have, and it's not as bad as what they say that they're being used for. If
Well,
some of
just
them
look at those 5 men who were indicted, and that all happened because of the
arrested,
cell phone. Yes. Oh, that's right. They were. I guess I saw the arrest warrants attached to that.
well, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but
Yeah.
today today someone has been going. I'm not going to say who. Someone has been going back and forth with somebody in the higher ups uh, uh, about those warrants, and supposedly they're not supposed to be released because they're a part of the investigation.
Well, I would say blah 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 to that.
Now that's just what I was told. Now I didn't hear that and I didn't see it, but
Yeah,
that's just what I was told.
yeah. I understand exactly what you're saying, and but that is those people are going to be they're going to catch a charge for sure, um, because of the cell phone. Because every time you ever hear it, the institutional phones are disabled. They don't work. There's the guy we saw the guy at Smith put the Vaseline on the camera. I said phone. I meant the cameras, and they aren't ever going to admit that they've got the cameras. So um, being able to see some of this horrific footage we've seen in the last year, um, it you cannot deny that our system's broken.
Yeah. And one thing about it, Securus phones doesn't catch crimes in progress.
Uh, no, people think that somebody is listening to the Securus phones. They're not. It's keywords that are caught electronically.
Yes, that's right.
I think they frighten people about that. You might as well go ahead and just have your conversation.
Right. Well, Susan, I
All right.
thank you for jumping on with me at just short notice, and talking to DJ, and like I said, I'm glad that we were able to talk to him. I definitely wanted to speak with someone, and
Yeah.
be able to to get a just let everybody get an understanding from someone that's living a life every day.
Yeah.
Um, because that's very important. We can say anything, but until you hear it and see it for yourself, then you know it may not be believable.
Yeah.
And I think he was sincere, excuse me, and his delivery um, was outstanding. And I thought that he wanted to make us and everybody that will listen to this and watch this to know that it's horrible in there. And yes,
Yeah.
they're in prison, and we're not asking for them to have a cakewalk, but it's at least treat them like human beings and properly take care of them as the largest law enforcement agency in the state of Georgia. And right now it's not happening. And
No.
so, for him to come on here and to be able to just tell everybody and give them a picture of what he sees every day that's completely inhumane, and completely unsafe and completely whatever. I'm was just glad that he came on and
Yeah.
told us. So Susan, I'll let you close us out.
Well, I I hope that people who listen to this understand that while the way in which he spoke was a bit raw, but that is the life he's leading. That is what's going on behind the walls.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to us. Drop your comments down in the comment section on Facebook or YouTube, and we will try to respond to you if we can. Or if you just have a comment, just drop it there. But we thank you for listening to this special episode. I call it a special episode of, what are we calling it?
Georgia Prison Watch.
Georgia Prison Watch. That's right. Thank you for watching this Georgia Prison Watch, and we thank our guest DJ for coming on with us tonight, and just spreading the word. So we're gonna get off here, and
Okay.
until the next one, thanks Susan Sparks Burns, founder of They Have No Voice. Look them up on Facebook, and of course, you can find us at Human and Civil Rights Coalition of Georgia on Facebook, and you can also visit our website, which is there on the screen. Until next time, thanks again to everybody for watching this, and we will catch y'all on the next one. Thanks.
Okay. Good night, everybody.